Hey, On-Chain Music fan. Today, everything is going to change for On-Chain Music. I'm going to be live coding Recoup, our AI assistant for music, musicians, artists, and other forms of artists, whether you're a digital artist or a physical artist or a musician. I'm going to be live coding Recoup as a mini app using MiniKit, meaning that artists can now receive payments directly through Farcaster. They can access the AI assistant directly through Farcaster and inside of the Base wallet. No more sending your fans to an external website or external apps. I'm going to show you exactly how MiniKit works under the hood. And the aim is going to be to set up the manifest for handling the states across the frames. And so whether you're a dev or an artist, I'm going to be taking you step by step to update your existing musician app to be a MiniKit with distribution directly inside of the social feed, so that whenever people are trying to either buy tickets from you, buy your music, use whatever the products or experiences are that you're building as an artist, you get distribution directly inside of the Farcaster app, the Base app, and then you don't have to worry about applying your app to the App Store or to the Google Play Store. They handle it for you, and so you can focus on building a robust, top-tier, customer-facing application and let Base and Farcaster handle distribution into the app stores. Let's jump right into it. We're going to go first to the quick start docs for Base and MiniKit. I'm going to be sharing this screen, but I'm going to need to move a couple things around. If at any time you would like to follow the quick start for MiniKit, check up here in the top right corner, and I've got a QR code that'll take you right to the quick start guide for Base's MiniKit. So you can just go jump into those docs. These are the same docs I'm going to be following. These are the official docs published by Base, and this is what we'll be following to update. In my case today, I'm going to be updating an app called Recoup. If you're not already familiar with Recoup, Recoup is the app that I've been building. It's an AI assistant for the music industry, and it allows me to ask questions like, who are my top fans? And I can ask fan-related questions and questions about my art. And it already has context of who am I, what social profiles do I have, who are my fans, what am I posting, things that you might not get when you're just talking to ChatGPT or Claude or any of the other more general LLMs. With Recoup, we actually have tools that allow you to do things like get the segments for an artist, get the fans for any of your segments. And then we build tools that allow the LLM to chain together all of the information that you have. For example, one of the segments I have is Web3 music developers. Now, while this is great in that we have fan tooling and we built an app that people can use for artists, musicians to have fan tooling built directly inside of their LLMs. The downside is if I try to share this onto Farcaster, coming soon, rebrand from Warpcast to Farcaster. If I come here and I try to send the link to this app, say, hey, I want other people to try this out. You're a musician, put yourself in your own shoes. You just dropped a new song. You just dropped a new album. You just dropped an experience for that album, and you want to share the link. And so you take your link and say, listen to my new album. And you could say something like that. This is probably a usual post for a musician. You'd change up the word slightly, but you'd share this as is. For me, I'm going to say pre-mini app using MiniKit from at Base. And you can see that when I share this, we see the preloaded info of the embed. And when I click on it, it opens up in an external tab. That's the normal experience. And that's probably what you're familiar with when you share apps on Twitter, on Farcaster, on any other social applications. It links out of the app and takes you out of the social feed. However, you can see that there's other apps. This is an example of a mini app. This is someone named CY. He is sharing a crowd fund for Duodo. And so Duodo is they're a partner of musicians here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. and they have released their crowdfund as a mini app. And so this is an exact example of a musician who has released a mini app, so that when I click donate now, you see I don't get redirected to another page. I'm right here inside of the app, and I can see all the funding. I can connect my wallet directly inside of here, but I didn't need to leave the social feed. And that's the important part. Our apps get embedded directly inside of a social feed. And so that's what we're going to be building today, is a way for us to be able to wrap our existing apps that we've already built in MiniKit by Coin or by Base, so that what we're going to be doing is wrapping our existing app that we've already published with MiniKit. That way, the same app that we have already published can be distributed directly inside of Farcaster, as well as the new Base wallet. This is leading into on-chain summer, where Base is going to be highly incentivizing artists, creators in this new emerging field called vibe coders that are at the intersection of being a developer and being an artist. It's this new class of artists that can build their own apps using programs like V0. And it's easy to wrap this app in a MiniKit. That way it can get distributed directly onto Farcaster, directly onto the Base app. And so the goal of this video is to help you understand, as an artist or as a musician, how you can take your existing apps that you're already vibe coding and wrap those with MiniKit, so that way you can get distribution this on-chain summer and get the support of Base and Farcaster in everything that you're building. It's enough yapping. Let's go into the quick start and let's try this out. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crash anything that I've got open, and let's get this increased in size so it's a little bit easier for you to read. And I'm going to get checkout -B. Actually, let me make a new ticket first in linear. I like to define the task first, then I build the task, and that allows me to always have a trackable piece of work for everything that I'm building. And so there's a little bit of a tangent, but bear with me as I quickly make a ticket for this piece of work. I'll go into projects, go into Recoup, and then inside of here, I'll make just a new ticket called mini app. Create the issue. Inside of mini app, I'm going to make my first subtask, which is going to be P1 MiniKit installation. So the first thing I'm going to try to do is just install MiniKit and see how far I can get with that. I'll copy the branch name. This is really what I was looking for. Now I can check out that branch name. Make sure I have the latest from main, because this is an existing app. We're wrapping an existing app. And now I should be able to get push origin my new branch. And this is going to push my branch. And from now, what I'm going to do is open up my code editor, which I believe is already right here, Recoup chat. Yep. And so I'm not going to be vibe coding this. I'm going to be actually hands-on keyboard coding this, mostly because I haven't seen anybody vibe code it yet, and I haven't seen anybody wrap an existing app with a mini app yet. And so before I start trying to have AI do it, I want to verify a human dev can do it. And so we're not going to be creating a brand new mini app, but they don't have any docs right now for expanding an existing app to be a mini app. And so I'm going to try to take these docs and use them for my own devices. The first thing I see that I need is mini app provider, and it needs this package of Coinbase on-chain kit mini. And so let me go pnpm I use pnpm for installing my packages. Whoops, that's not right. If you're using npm, you could say npm install this package name. For me, if you're using yarn, you could say yarn add, and then the package name. For me, I'm using pnpm, so for me it's pnpmi, and then the package name. This is going to allow me to install Coinbase's on-chain kit and the subset MiniKit. And so it looks like the first thing I need to do is wrap with a provider. And so let's do that first, and let's go into, I already have a providers folder. And so inside of my providers folder, I have like a global provider, which you can see we already have a lot of providers. And so I'll make a new one called MiniKit provider.tsx. And inside of here, let's copy the code, paste the code. And it's still telling me we don't have that package for now. Let me try to comment it out and bring it back in. I'm still seeing that this package is not here. MiniKit, it's telling me that it was added, but I'm not seeing it here. So maybe I just need to add on-chain kit. Let me try just trying pnpm I on-chain kit. Again, this is a set of docs that are currently missing from Base, and so part of this is an attempt to understand how we would expand an existing app with MiniKit. If I'm able to do it on this live stream, I'll write up my own set of docs and share it with the Base team. That way, one, we've got a source of docs that I've written, and anybody can use it. And two, if Base decides they want to expand their documentation, I'm helping to provide part of that solution rather than just point out a place where they could improve. Okay, we got rid of that error. If we add this back, we no longer have an error, so it looks like we have fixed the import. We're now getting an error on React node not being defined, so let's import React node, and let's also import Base. It looks like we don't even have VM installed yet. Maybe we have. Import Base from VM/chains. And now that should have fixed all of our errors. Base does exist, right? Yeah, Base is here. These are incompatible. So it seems like they need a different type of chain. And let me see if they exported Base from up here. Okay, Base is not exported from there. So now I'm wondering, property of fees are incompatible. What is the type that they're expecting? Let's drill into MiniKit provider. And it looks like they need on-chain kit props, MiniKit provider, children, notification proxy URL. Do we even need I want to drill into this definition of on-chain kit provider React. I'm not even sure we need a chain in here. Is chain being used anywhere? I'm not seeing it, so let me try just removing Base for now. No, now it's complaining. Chain is missing in type, API key, and where is chain defined in here? On-chain kit provider React. I'm actually not even seeing chain in this list of variables, but they're telling me it's needed. So let's drill back into here. Children, on-chain kit props. Where's on-chain kit provider? I want to see on-chain kit provider. On-chain kit provider. Okay, this should be an at on-chain kit provider. It should be inside of my node modules right now. Node modules, Coinbase, on-chain kit, SRC. I'm looking for on-chain kit provider. Default on-chain kit providers. On-chain kit provider.tsx. I think it's probably here. On-chain kit provider takes a chain, which is coming from here. Chain is of type chain from WAGMI chains. Okay, so it's looking for WAGMI chains and not VM chains. And now my question is, have I already installed WAGMI in this project? Let me go back to Recoup chat. Let's check out our package.json. In our package.json, do we have WAGMI? I do not have WAGMI, so let me install that with pnpmi WAGMI. And so I'll likely need to wrap my app with WAGMI at some point. I'm going to be documenting the steps I'm following here. 1, install on-chain kit. 2, MiniKit provider. 3, WAGMI install. Now that I've installed WAGMI, let's go back to our MiniKit provider. And instead of from VM chains, let's try WAGMI chains. And let's comment this out, comment it back in. We're still getting an error. And so let's add chain here as chain. Okay, let's try, instead of import from WAGMI, let's try from VM. VM, it's not assignable to type. Okay, it looks like our VM types are different. It looks like we've got one that's on type version 2.23.15 and one that's on 2.28. So let me check what version of VM we're using. 2.21. Let's try updating VM with pnpmi VM. Our version of VM might be outdated, and so that might be throwing some errors. And so while I installed WAGMI, that might not be the move that we need to make in order to fix this bug. VM is still 2.21.18. pnpm update VM. Okay, so now we've shifted from 2.23.15 to 2.28.1. I can confirm that here. Let's go back to our provider and see if we're, okay, so now that's fixed our error. And I wonder if we can even delete this wrapping of chain. It looks like I can. So I can now update my notes to say WAGMI was not the issue. The actual issue that I hit was VM latest install. We need the latest version of VM. And I had an older version of VM, which was throwing type errors. MiniKit provider as MK provider. I'm going to wrap this as a different name just so that I can export this function as MiniKit provider. And now we've got our provider, but I'm missing my environment variables. And so I think I'd like to add my environment variables. Let's make that step 4, env variables, on-chain kit API key and on-chain kit project name. Next question I have is, where do I get these? Next, public on-chain kit API key. I'm wondering if these names are correct, because up above, it's mentioning next public CDP client API key, but down here we're seeing next public on-chain kit API key. I'm wondering which one is correct. I'm gonna go with that it's the same value and only the names are different. I prefer referencing it as CDP client API key, and so that'll be the name that we'll use here. And in order to create that, we'll go into portal.cdp.coinbase.com. Let's make a new project. We'll call it delete MiniKit. And I'll create that. And inside of here, I should be able to create an API key. I'm just going to name this key. And now I've got my API key ID. And I'm going to do this off camera so that I don't expose my other environment variables. Let's go into my .env.local equals that. Let me make sure I get the name again. Next public CDP API key. I'm also going to add this into my env example. And I'll also need, what else do I need? I'll also need my project name and my icon URL. And so I'll make both of those. My project name is called Recoup, and my icon URL is going to be, let's check inside of my public URL for a logo. And I think that's what we want to use, but maybe I have an icon. Do I have an icon? Recoup.png is, I believe, what we want. And so that URL is https://chat.recoupable.com/recoup.png. And this is the image that I want to use. And so this is what I'm going to use as the next public icon URL. And with that, I have saved all of my environment variables. And so these are the three environment variables I've just added. I've added my CDP client API key, my project name, and my icon URL. So from here, let's close all the others and let's go back to our instructions. Let's close out of this image, go back to the docs. And so what we've done so far is we installed the on-chain kit package and we have added in our environment variables. Now we need a use MiniKit hook. Well, let's also wrap our app in this MiniKit provider. And so inside of providers, let's put this relatively high level because we want this context wrapping most things. I think we want it right where it's suggesting MiniKit provider. And now let me move the closing tab between privy and user provider. Privy and user provider. And now we have imported MiniKit provider. And so now we have wrapped our app in this provider. So MiniKit is now being injected everywhere in our app. And so now we need these hooks in our main page component. So let's go to our main page. Inside of app, we've got page.tsx. And inside of here, we're going to add in these MiniKit. All right, so it looks like this cannot be used inside of a async function. And our home page is using server-side rendering. So let's undo that. And instead of adding it into our page, let's make a home page component and put this inside of that. So I'll quickly make a new folder called home page, or just home. And inside of home, I'll make a new file called homepage.tsx, const homepage. Let it auto complete out some of those definitions. And now I will paste this code here. Homepage needs an ID. Hopefully it's going to autocomplete. ID should be a string. Chat needs imported. And outside of that, we should now be good to import homepage. And we also need an ID. And now we can remove that chat import. And from here, inside of our homepage, why do you want to delete that? We shouldn't delete that. Let's try importing these hooks. Import the hook. No more errors for use MiniKit, but we're not using and now we're not using use effect. So it looks like at this point we should have set our frame to ready. Function is called when your mini app is ready to be shown. And so we have now set up our provider. We're using the use MiniKit hook from Coinbase's on-chain kit package. And next up, I think now we just need to create the manifest, and that's it. Let's try calling this function and see what happens. Create on-chain manifest. Let's see what this does when we run it inside of an existing app. How are we doing on time? About 27 minutes in. Failed to read .env file. Make sure you are in your project directory. So it seems like it's expecting a .env, whereas I'm using .env.local. So what I'm going to do is move this off screen again. I'll make a duplicate of my .env, and I'm going to call it, well, a duplicate of my .env.local, and I'm going to call this one just .env. All right, now I have a .env.local and a .env. And let's see if that is going to allow us to create the manifest again. Trying our manifest creation command. All right, we're opening up a manifest generator. I'm going to connect my wallet, my Coinbase wallet, make sure I'm in the right account. We're not currently in the right account. Now I should be in the account that I want. Is this the account that I want? Yeah, this should be a good account. Coinbase wallet. Let's see what account it pulls up from this. Suites. This might be right. 2336, that looks like my FID. And now enter the domain of your app. This will be used and also added as your next public URL. https://chat.recoupable.com. Let's sign the message. Sign it, and we should now have an app manifest successfully generated, and it should have been added into our routes. We should have well-known somewhere in here, or maybe it wasn't added, in which case we will need to add it. So far, I'm not seeing a well-known in here. But I'm going to open up my env on a different tab and see if we now have at least those variables. I now see that we have a Farcaster header, Farcaster payload, and Farcaster signature inside of our env file, and I'm going to copy those over to my .env.local to make sure that we have those where I'm actively using. Where I'm actively using my environment variables. Let's close out of those environment variables, bring back the tab, make sure that we're sharing the right screen. And from here, what's next? So for one, we still need our well-known file, and I know that that does not exist. We have run this command and it worked. And we then were able, it automatically added those variables into our env file. And next, now that we have the manifest set up correctly, the save frame button in the template app should work. Let's explore that below. Use the use add frame hook to add your mini app to the user's list of mini apps. It's implemented in your main page component and displays a button in the top right, allowing user to add the mini app to their list. So this should be in our main homepage. So let's try adding that. It looks like this is a button that I don't know that we have added. So for now, I'm going to skip this. Because it's going to use an handle add frame. And so I need to add a button in order for it to do that. And for now, I don't want to add the button. The is open URL hook is used to open external URLs from within the page. In the template, it's used for the footer button that links to the MiniKit page. I don't think we have any external links, and so we don't need to use this open URL. Additional MiniKit features, use close. I don't need to worry about closing. I don't know about use primary button or use view profile. Allows you to define what profile is being defining the user's FID, which is great for social applications. It uses the client FID. Use notification. We'll skip notifications for now. It looks like that should be it. And so now I'm wondering where, I think I have an example of their file somewhere else. So let me see if I can find that MiniKit demo I did the other day to try to find where the well-known file is at. So running through our steps so far, we've installed OnChainKit. We've added a MiniKit provider right here. We've installed the latest version of VM, which we can verify inside of our package.json. I'm currently on VM version 2.28.1. We've updated our env variables, including CDP client API key, OnChainKit project name, and icon URL. We then generated the manifest. We've used the CLI to generate the env variables. And now we need the actual file to consume those env variables. And so what I am going to do now is find the example base app. And I should have some sort of my MiniKit app. Yeah, let's cd into my MiniKit app. And let's open this in Cursor so that I can see how they are generating the, how are they generating the well-known file? It's right here inside of well-known. It's outside of API, interestingly enough. So let's copy this. Let's bring it inside of our app, the same place that they put it, right at the top. And inside of here, we've got a route that is consuming Farcaster header, Farcaster payload, Farcaster signature, which were just added to my env. And then we also need version, OnChainKit project name, icon URL, image URL, project name, splash image background. And then they also have a webhook field here, which I have not set up. So I'm going to delete this webhook URL for now. Well, shouldn't hurt to leave it. Next public URL. I think all of these I've set, but I'm not sure. So let me add all these to .env.local just to make sure I'm tracking them. Let's find our .env.example. We need a public URL. And then where am I finding all these? Inside of our route. Farcaster header. Farcaster payload, Farcaster signature, next public version. Is that already included? It looks like it's not. On-chain kit project name. We've already included that one up above. Public URL, I believe we just verified that we have. Yep. Icon URL, we should already have that. We do. Image URL, we don't have that one, so let's add it. On-chain kit project name, we should already have. We do. Splash image URL, we don't have, so let's add in the splash image URL. Splash image background color. We need the splash image background color. And that should be everything so far that we've found inside of the well-known file. So what we're doing right now is we're setting up the well-known file, which is used for verifying our app with Farcaster. Anything in here that I can automatically add? Let me see what next public version is inside of this app. Here's our env, and let's copy over anything that we can. So the next public version is just next. So next public version is next. Image URL is going to be an image. Splash background color. Where's the background color? Here's background color. We'll use the same one, which should just be white. It's either white or black. API key, project name. Where's project name? Project name, we'll just make this my MiniKit app. Icon URL, public URL, Farcaster header. None of these other things we can define off the bat, but these we can. So I'm going to copy this and I'll put it into my env file off screen, and I'll fill in the remaining values. So that way I have all the environment variables that I'm going to need in order to deploy this and have it work. After this, I think I would like to get started with deploying, so that way we can verify everything's working. Copy this into .env.local. Delete API. Delete on-chain kit project name. Delete the icon URL. Delete the next public URL. Farcaster header delete. Farcaster payload delete. I'm deleting these because I already have them. Farcaster signature delete. Next public version, keep that. Next public image URL, keep that. Next public splash image. All right, so the two that I'm missing are next public image URL and next public splash image URL. And I'm setting those as the exact same value as my next public icon URL. I'm setting all those images to be the same for simplicity. I've added all those environment variables. Bring in the code back. And now we should be able to move forward with deploying this. Let's try deploying this by checking out what we've changed. Env example was changed. Added example env variables for MiniKit by base. We have, this should just be, we've added on-chain kit. MiniKit is actually linking to on-chain kit's MiniKit. And we added WAGMI, which is not needed so far. So I'm actually going to pnpm remove WAGMI. So that way we're only changing the minimum set of features required in order to get this to pass. I actually don't even think we need MiniKit in here. So I'll also remove the MiniKit import. Let's remove MiniKit. I believe that's what it, yeah, we don't need MiniKit in here. And so now we've added two packages. We've added the Coinbase on-chain kit package, and we have updated our VM package. So let's add both of those and say updated VM and added, and let's specifically note what this package is that we've added. Coinbase on-chain kit. Commit that. In our page, we've created the home page So that way we could use MiniKit, use MiniKit for set frame ready. This is our well-known Farcaster mini app verification. We've got our MiniKit provider, and that's going to be both of these. One of them is defining the provider, and then the other one is wrapping the app in that provider. Let's commit this, and let's publish it. Before I publish, I'm going to go over to Vercel. We don't need this app open anymore, or we shouldn't. I'm going to go to Vercel, and I'm going to update my environment variables to add those new environment variables. We got our first tune-in of the day from Dilstek. Dilstek is an epic Farcaster builder, and he actually helped me originally with understanding how to use the new mini apps in Frames v2. And so the fact that he's tuned in is going to give me some major help. It looks like he's recommending I go to docs.org, wallet apps, mini apps. I believe I've already got that. I do not. I've got a different site up. So Dilstek is recommending I check out this site. So let's pull this up and see what it is. docs.base.org/wallet apps/mini apps. Oh, wallet app is singular. That was my bad. Mini apps. Using a mini app, authentication, wallet, context data, sign in with Farcaster, deep links, metadata, yada yada, example manifest. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. I'm using the MiniKit docs over here, but there's also this mini apps doc. I'm not sure what the difference is. This one seems to be more high level. The one that Dilstek shared seems to be more focused on the high level features and talking about the specs overall. And the docs that we're going through are the implementation with specific code examples. So I'm going to keep Dill up for a little while just to highlight this is another builder. He's incredibly based and one of the top experts for building apps on Farcaster. And so if you want to reach out to someone, find Dilstek. He's like top tier dev, very, very cracked, able to help you with whatever you need if you're building on Farcaster and you get stuck. You can reach out to Dilstek. You can reach out to me. Both of us make our time very public and available to help any sort of builder that's building on Base or on Farcaster. And so again, I'm going to Vercel and I'm going to add my environment variables into Vercel. That way, when I do my push, it will already have the environment variables that I need. I'll be able to I'll show you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to stop sharing to actually do it. If you go into your example, you can just copy your entire list of variables and then paste them in, and it's going to paste them well formatted. And so I'm going to do the same thing with my actual variables, but I just wanted to show you what I'm going to do because I'm going to do this off camera. So that way I don't share all of my environment variables. So move this off camera, also move my cursor off camera, and then I'm going to copy these over really quickly, and then I'll be back. Let's copy all of these, go back to Vercel, paste my environment variables, and now I'll click save. That's going to hide all my environment variables. Make sure that I close my env local, bring my code back over. We're not sharing anything important. Bring back my Vercel. We're also not sharing anything important. So you can now see I've added all those new environment variables that I need for Farcaster and for the base mini apps inside of Vercel. And so now let's click the publish branch button, and that's going to kick off a deployment, and hopefully we get a mini app that we can start to verify. While I'm waiting, let me make sure I've got the latest changes. So I'll pull from main. And it looks like there are no new changes. So what we can do is go to deployments, and we can wait for this deployment to execute. And once this deployment finishes, I'm going to, once this deployment finishes, I will share this link on Farcaster to see if the mini app is working with the changes that we made. Give me 1 sec to shut the blinds. The sun's starting to come out.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I said, it's all right. Little darling.
All right. We got our shades down. Keep us protected from the sun. Let's get our camera back on. We're still deploying. And so now might be a good time to check in with what we have done. So far, we've been following the MiniKit Quick Start. Instead of creating a brand new app, which is the only thing that Coinbase docs support or the base docs support right now, we want to wrap an existing app. And so I'm trying to pick apart the Quick Start docs that the base team has given us to give a proof of concept prototype for how you can wrap your own app. And if this works, I'll write out my own set of docs later on this afternoon. And then tomorrow we can come back and update a different app following those docs. That way we can just have this iteration loop a little bit faster between, hey, we're missing something. I'll just build the thing that's missing. And then I'll give that to the base team. And if the base team can use it, great. If they don't want to use it, at least it works for me. And I've shared it as an open source resource for the community. So what we've done so far, we've installed MiniKit by installing the on-chain kit library from Coinbase. We've added in our MiniKit provider. We have installed the latest version of VM. We have set all of our environment variables, this entire list of environment variables. We then generated the manifest using the MiniKit CLI. They use this command, npx create on-chain manifest. And then we set up our well-known route that is needed for Farcaster to verify that we published this app. We set the environment variables that we needed inside of Vercel, and we just got a deployment error. So let's see what I did wrong. Homepage. You're importing a component that needs use effect. This React component only works in a client component. To fix this, okay, so I just need to mark this as use client inside of my home page. So inside of homepage, let's mark this as use client, and that should fix this error. Homepage use client. Let's add the change, push the change. I like having an empty line there. Knit empty line. How are we doing on time? We're at 49 minutes. We're still trying to deploy this. We're building. And so while I'm waiting for this build, I'm going to keep moving forward with my normal process of getting this shipped. I'll go to GitHub and let's open up a pull request while we're waiting for this deployment to go off. All of Recoup is open source. And so this chat that I've been building out is entirely open source. So if you want to fork the app that I've just built, including Farcaster distribution with MiniKit, you can just fork Recoup. Feel free to use it. It's all open source with MIT licensing, so we don't hold back any rights. We're just building this as an open source application for the community. All right, we've set up a pull request. Let me share this. Do I have my Slack open? It looks like I do have my Slack open. So let me go to code review. And I'll share hashtag Recoup, the name of the project. Hey, baby, you okay? One of my cats are crying upstairs. And so now that I've shared a link, the code review link, we're now officially in review. Let's see, moment of truth. Can we get past the minute and 47 seconds? In 10 more seconds, we're going to know if we made it past where before we got stuck with a broken deployment. Seeming like we made it past where we were before. I'm very excited to have Recoup published as a mini app because it means a whole new set of distribution for people for artists that want to use AI tools. It's another differentiator that we have is our distribution. Most people that are building LLMs or that are building chat-based applications don't have distribution in Farcaster. And so if we can focus on distribution in Farcaster, we can get a whole new swath of humans using the app, which other platforms might not be targeting. And so even if someone else is building at the intersection of on-chain AI and music, they're not distributing in Farcaster. And so that gives us a unique mechanism for finding new customers that other teams might not be focused on. I have a firm belief that on-chain social is going to win, and eventually your on-chain distribution flips your off-chain distribution. And so for businesses like Recoup focusing on building a startup and building on where the puck is going and where attention is moving to, Farcaster and Base are two great examples of where attention has already been hockey sticking up in terms of exponential growth. And so for us to be focusing there is focusing on an expanding set of human users rather than on areas where attention's been declining. It's hard to get into the attention. We're honestly all day trading attention. If you ever heard Gary Vee, the goal is to get your app in front of other people, get your product in front of other people, and to get somehow a portion of a human being's attention. If you can plant that seed and get a little piece of attention, that's how we win. We win in the hearts and minds of other human beings. And so I believe that hockey sticking of attention is growing on Base and on Farcaster. And so by publishing the work that I'm doing there, it positions us in the river to have that river at our back and pushing us forward, empowering the movement that we want to go, rather than publishing on other distribution platforms like, for example, trying to directly publish our app in the App Store, on the Play Store, where it's going to be an uphill battle. There's less and less people that want to download a brand new app. We're going to be receiving a whole lot of feedback from the Apple and the Google teams. And so we're going to be fighting a river and trying to fight against it. And so the goal is to position ourselves so that the work that we're doing flows naturally, in the forces that are organically unfolding in the universe can propel us to where we're trying to go, rather than picking a steep mountain that is going to be hard to climb and is ultimately just a local maximum that fails to clearly view the ultimate maximum of where we could be climbing. And so it looks like we have deployed. Looks like we deployed. And so let's see if this works. I'm going to take this link and I'm going to share it onto Farcaster. Let's go home, cast this, share the link. Will this show as a mini app is my question. I'm not seeing a mini app yet. Let's try pasting it again. First attempt to wrap Recoup in at Base. Whoa. What's going on? At Base MiniKit. Let's cast it and see if I'm still getting an external link here. And so it seems like I missed something in terms of being able to make this a mini app. What are the other steps I need to follow? We've created the manifest file. That manifest file should be working. Let's check if the manifest works by going to this domain dot well known. I'm not seeing it there. Dot well known / Farcaster.json. So it should be dot well known / Farcaster.json. Okay, so here is all of the info. It looks correct to me. I'm wondering if it's because we haven't shipped this to main. So for now, let me just share test here. Test here. Let's paste that info. Farcaster manifest. And so I'm going to ship this to main. Let's ship this to main and then let's try to verify it. Let me go back to my pull request, make sure that I'm happy with the files that I changed. And if we like it, we'll ship it and we'll try to see if maybe the reason it's not a mini app is because we're trying it on a preview link instead of the production link. We updated our ENV example. We added our well-known route for Farcaster JSON. We added in a home page so that way we're not using Farcaster or MiniKit hooks inside of a async component. Here's our client-side component using MiniKit. We added Coinbase's on-chain kit package, and we also updated VM. PNPM lock was updated. We added in the MiniKit provider. We've wrapped the entire app in the MiniKit provider, and that's it. Let's ship these changes and see if shipping it to production helps us out at all. I'm gonna hide Dilstek's comment just to go back to a clean slate on the comments. If you're tuned in and you have any advice or you have any questions or any feedback in general, please leave a comment. I do see them in real time while I'm coding. Squash and merge. Let's get this shipped. All right, we've shipped our first pull request of the day to production. Let's add the shipping emoji onto here. And let's see what happens when this gets published into production. How do we actually verify this? Inside of the docs, it's not mentioning that we need public URL, image URL. We've already added all those. Now you can test your mini app by going into the developer tools. So let's try going into the developer tools and share this app to see if the developer tools help us out at all. The developer tools, paste in our domain, remove the well-known. We shouldn't need to do that. It looks like it auto-updated. Embed is not present. Embed is not valid. Does not have a valid manifest. So let's see if that's still the case when this is deployed to production. It looks like it's going to take roughly 3 minutes, roughly 4 minutes for this build to execute. And now let's add in a new ticket for P1 MiniKit app verification. Actual app verification is failing. Required is that app verification is successful. And let's just check again inside of the developer tools. Take a screenshot and highlight. It says it does not have a manifest set up, but we do have a manifest there. To enable adding and notifications, create a manifest for it. Well, done. Let's add this into the ticket. Image. And let's create this ticket. So So we've already completed installation. It's deploying. And once it finishes deploying, we're going to try entering in the production domain, which is just going to be chat.recoupable.com. And here we don't have any URL details, even worse than what we had before. How we doing on the deploy? What else might be missing is another question I have. In order for this to be working, we've added our well-known. I've verified that it exists at the domain that they expect it to be at. If this doesn't work, what other steps might we need to follow in order to wrap our existing app with MiniKit to successfully publish our app on Farcaster, as well as for the new base wallets? This is the first existing app I'm ever trying to wrap with MiniKit, and so this one's going to take the longest time. If I get this successful, I'm going to be able to then write docs, and I can rewatch this live stream, and I can write docs around it. And then once I write docs around it, I'll be able to try again and see if we can do a faster iteration. All right, let's go back here and refetch. So we're now at least getting an HTTP status of 200, but we're still seeing it does not have a manifest set up. Let's view the docs. Loading your app. We need to call the ready command, Farcaster frame SDK ready. I'm assuming this should be called with the set frame ready, which should be loaded automatically into my home page. Let me check my Vercel environment variables. Well, we can just check what came back from /.well_known/Farcaster.json. Our home URL is correct. Icon URLs are all the same. The webhook URL is potentially invalid. But over here, it's saying we don't have a manifest set up, even though we do. So we should already be calling that splash screen, previewing your app. I'm wondering if this is called under the hood, SDK actions.ready. Let's go into use MiniKit and see what happens when we call set is frame ready. It looks like set frame ready is calling the SDK actions.ready, and it's passing in the ready options. And so this should be making that call. And that should be all we need to do. And so I'm curious as to why it didn't work. Let's go local and see if we can debug what's going on here. Go back to our homepage component. Console.log. And now let's try pnpm dev and see if we can see that log for set frame ready. All right, our app is slowly loading. All that I care to see is if we're triggering the set frame ready, which is what is mentioned here in the docs. What else might we be missing? Copy your deployed Vercel URL, preview frames, tap launch. We added in this info. I'm excited to see if this works, if we get the log here. If this does not work, what might have gone awry? What else can I study from the examples that have worked to improve the example that I'm looking at now? Let's open up a new tab and go back to that working example. Go into base, CD, my MiniKit 2. Let's open it up again. Why did I close it? It was getting distracting, but I won't do that again. Here's that new MiniKit app. So let's see what's in here. App, well-known, route, inside of our page. What are we doing inside of the page? Open URL. Yeah, so we've got open URL and we've also got add frame. Where's context being used? Save frame button. This looks just like what we're already doing. Providers are being called inside of our layout. Okay, this is something that we are not doing inside of our app, is adding the generate metadata inside of our layout. This might be what's missing. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. And I think this might be the missing thing, is generation of metadata. I should see the log here. And then if that's the case, what's missing is the generate metadata, and that is what I will build out next. We're still waiting for the landing page to compile. So while we are, let's make the note about generate metadata in our layout. Make a new ticket. I'm gonna call this P1 generate metadata actual root layout.tsx does not include Next.js default generate metadata function. Required copy generate metadata and add it to the root layout.tsx. Reference is from, we just copy this. It's viewport. Where's viewport used? I don't know how this is used, but maybe it's important. I don't actually know if it's important, so we'll copy all this and we'll paste it into the ticket as my reference. Create this ticket. Let me assign these to myself. All right. We'll try generate metadata first. I have a feeling that we're still compiling. This is a slow compilation, but that can happen sometimes with when I'm trying to do local app development as well as streaming. So my question is, do I continue to go down this path of trying to debug this, or do I just keep moving forward with deploying? I think we want to keep moving forward with deploying. And so I'll just crash this, and we're going to do all of our testing in a deployed environment. I'll close out of here. And now let's check out the new branch for generate metadata and go down that path to see if that fixes it. Copy this branch, go over to our Recoup chat code, check out 2, paste the new branch. I add dev logging for set frame ready. So this will give us our debugging. And then I also want to go into our layout. And inside of our layout, while we do have metadata, it does not include everything that they are requiring. And so let's add the viewport, which I'm missing. Let's import our viewport. Now we've got viewport and metadata from Next. And generate metadata is what I want instead of metadata. Title is coming from title. Description is coming from meta description. Other is missing from above but needed here. And then we've got our Farcaster frame info. And anywhere we're using project name, I'm going to replace it with title. Background color, all that looks good. What else are we missing? So we've got title, description, and now we're missing open graph, manifest, and theme color. So let's copy those, paste them into our metadata object. And now I should be able to remove this metadata and instead use this function. Update layout to include Farcaster SEO metadata with generate metadata function from Next.js. Let's commit this. Make sure I'm on my branch. Generate metadata. We'll publish the branch. And let's also pull our latest changes from main to make sure this branch is up to date. Looks like I've got a couple of merge conflicts. Let's accept both. And now add this in. Let's save it and then add it in. Git status, git commit -m. I should now have the option to sync. Let's sync those changes. And it should now be deploying. So while it's deploying, I'm going to set up the pull request. And this is going to be pull request number 2 of the day and the second one of this video as well. Compare the pull request with main, create the pull request, and now let's share this inside of our chat. I'm going to add this step to my list. We need generate metadata. Let's get our ticket link. Let's see how our build does. We're a minute into a build that looks like it takes about 4. And once this goes live, I'm going to just publish this directly. Actually, we'll go into testing it in the dev tools over here. So once this deployment's live, I'm going to take my deployment link. I'm going to paste it into here and see if we have all checks. So right now, we're still saying that we don't have a manifest set up. And so that is going to be a step that is important. In the head section, we need specific metadata, which right now I believe is missing. Head, we need the Farcaster frame, which was missing. So I do think that this is potentially where the error occurred. I'm hoping that's where it occurred. Looks like we're live. So let's take this domain And let's go back to the developer tools, moment of truth. We put in our app. So we have checks across the board, but it still says to enable adding in notifications for the mini app, create a manifest for it. I thought we had already created a manifest. Well-known Farcaster.json, which should already exist on the domain. If we go to the new domain and we go to /well-known Farcaster.json, I do see manifest info here. Let's see if this matches what they expect. Farcaster.json should have frame, which we have. Which includes version, name, icon URL, version, name, icon URL, home URL, image URL. We've got home URL and image URL. Button title, splash image URL. We've got button title, splash image URL. And then background, splash background color, splash background color. We don't even need this webhook. You can omit webhook URL for now. So we could omit that for now. And then we need the associated address, account association, which should include a header, payload, and signature. Header, payload, and signature are all included there. And so we should be good. The big change is that we went from not having checks in embed present and embed valid to now we do have those. It's also saying we have a manifest present and it's valid. So I'm thinking we just need to ship this to main. So let me take a screenshot of this. I'll check on Farcaster validator. Let me see what happens if I just share this link in a Farcaster post to see if it at least is working over here. Let's cast the link, https:// attempt to wrap Recoup with MiniKit. Let's paste that, send that out. Any difference? Okay, I now see a launch Recoup button. And if I click it, it opens up the app right here. So it seems like this change is actually allowing us to now sign in with Recoup. We've opened up the app. And so before it was linking us out to an external page. Now I'm able to share the mini app directly within a social feed. And so let me see if I can share this. Everything gets slower when you stream. So if you're considering becoming a streamer, just know your entire workflow slows down a little bit. Mini app now launching. This is great. We're moving in the right direction. Copy the link. And then let's say over here, reference cast. And so now we've got our first version of the mini app for Recoup. However, we're still not showing that we can publish it. So let's ship these changes to main and then see what else we need to change before going live. So what was changed? The last time we shipped an update, we were not seeing a button to launch the mini app. We made a couple updates and now we do see a button to launch the mini app. The main update is right here. We added in the generate metadata function with this Farcaster frame metadata. This is the main thing that was missing. We also added in some logging, but we don't need this logging. And so I'm going to go back here and say get checkout main and paste in the logging. Get checkout origin main. And that should have rolled back our change. So from here I can say roll back home page changes, commit it. All that this is doing is removing file changes. That it was just a dev log, which is now gone, as you can see. So I'm gonna see that we go from 2 files changed down to 1, and then I'm gonna go ahead and ship it. And then I'll stop the preview deployments to let this main go out to see if we can finish our app verification. Generate metadata seems to have been an important step that we were missing before, and we have now added, which is enabling us to actually make our mini app openable directly from the Farcaster social feed. Okay, we've shipped that. It should have updated our ticket automatically. And so now the last thing we need to do is app verification. Let's see if there's any deployments going that are not production, and if so, I will stop those. Here's one that's not production, so let's cancel this deployment and just move ahead with main. Okay, this should hopefully be the last thing we need to do. It's taken us close to 90 minutes so far to get this working, but again, there weren't any docs to show us how to wrap an existing app. We're parsing this together on our own to figure out, okay, most of us already have an app. Most of us aren't starting from scratch. And so if you already have an app and you need to wrap that app with MiniKit in order to publish it on both Farcaster and on Base, this is the first time I've ever been able to do it, and I've seen anybody do it. And so my goal is to make this process more refined for us to be able to go down from an hour and a half being the amount of time it takes to wrap our app and publish it as a mini app to something that's more manageable, like an hour, or hopefully even something shorter, like a half an hour. And so if this works, I'm going to watch this video, my own live stream, and I'm going to create a set of documents around this. I'll publish those documents. And what that will allow is then I can come back on and do another live stream tomorrow and wrap another app like in process and show how much faster it is for us to wrap that app and make it a mini app using MiniKit once we have a set of documents in place. And if those documents work well for me, I'll share them with the base team and see if the base team wants to expand their own document set to include the notes that I've been taking in my own lived experience of using the MiniKit tool set. Build is finishing. We're almost in deploy. Once it hits deploy, it only takes 10, 15 seconds for the app to be live. I'm feeling confident that this is going to be one of the last steps we need to do to officially deploy our app to the mini app store. It's deploying. The app is live. Let's come back to the developer tool and go to chat.recoupable.com. Refetching. It's not associated with an account. We got a different error now. I'm seeing all the buttons in order for us to open it. And so we should now be able to claim ownership. Scan the QR code to open up the Warpcast mobile apps. Generate a signed message needed to assign it. All right, let me get my phone. And now let me scan that QR that we see on the screen. I'll try to share this process. Let's see what it's doing. It looks like it's opened up an account association. It's got our domain. Chat, let me see if I can flip this so that you can read it. Let's flip the camera. And so here we can see we have account association, don't go to sleep. We've got a manifest in here. And then we've got our app, and then I can sign as Sweetman.eth. I'm going to verify this real quick. Account association, it has a header, payload, signature, and then it's got all the frame info. And so, yep, I think this looks great. Let me sign it. Let's see what happens when I tap sign. Signature sent, continue on desktop. Looks like our page automatically updated. And so let's go back to picture in picture. All right. Update the account association property of your well-known Farcaster.json. Before submitting, make sure we'll verify to make sure it has the associated information above. Let's see if it's the same. We can check if it's the same by going to chat.recoupable.com /.wellknown/Farcaster.json. And we can compare what we see in this app, EYJMA, and it ends with ZOCJ9. It ends with different text. So they're giving me different info for the headers and other info than what I was given from the Coinbase team or the base team. So I guess I should make this update. Account association needs to be updated. So let's try that. We'll make a new ticket. App verification. I'll make a new ticket called P1 well Farcaster.json account association. Where was I? Here. Actual using account association from MiniKit CLI. Required using from Farcaster team. Required value. The required value is given us right here. So I can copy this, go back into the ticket, add in a code block, paste it in there, and create. I should be able to do this actually just by redeploying with new values. So let me try that. I'll take each of these and go back into Recoup Chat's environment variables, and hopefully I can just change these environment variables and we'll be all good. Let's go to environment variables. Let's find Farcaster header, payload, and signature. First, we'll take our header and we will update the Farcaster header to the new value. After header, we have a payload. Copy the payload, and inside of our Farcaster payload, we can edit that value, paste our value. It looks to be the same. No changes to the payload. And then we also have a signature. Copy the signature, go back to our environment variables, modify the Farcaster signature. And there were no there are changes to the signature as well. Save that. And now that we have updated these just now for all three of those variables, let's do a redeploy. Go to deployments, tap the three dots, create a deployment, select main, and create the deployment. Once this deployment finishes, we should be able to verify our app and then have it published in the Farcaster mini app store. I just did that redeploy while I'm doing the redeploy. Submit ownership change to complete the process. Account association does not currently match, so that's what we're doing right now is we're using the manifest tool. So step 8, manifest verification. We'll manifest publish. Via Farcaster. This water is a little bit chilly, so while we're deploying, I'm going to heat up my water. I got some hot water. Our app's deployed. Now we can go back to re-verifying our publishing. Okay, it says account association matches, but it gave me an error up there. Let's ignore it and submit the ownership change. Account association has been complete. I'll try claim ownership again. It's already associated with my account, so we should be done, question mark. Let's try refetching up here. It does not have a manifest set up. I'm confused. I have a feeling this is just outdated because we just went through and approved all this. Chat.recoupable.com. All right. It says last synced. It's already associated with my account, so it looks like we're good. And we've got a transfer ownership button. So I think we're all good. We've got checks across the board. We should now have a live mini app for chat.recoupable.com. I'll share this link one more time and just say that it's now updated and successful. Get rid of this well-known. We just updated Recoup. It's a mini app. We just updated Recoup using MiniKit by AppBase. Took about 90 minutes to wrap our existing AI product, AI agent with MiniKit. To publish our existing AI agent with MiniKit. I'll publish this inside of the base channel. How does it look? Cast. Let's check out that the cast. We've now got our app. It's a MiniKit app. Let me try opening it up from my phone. Let's go back to this split view. and I'm going to go back to my profile. Here's the post that I just made. You can see it, and I should be able to tap launch. And now we're launching, and we've launched Recoup directly inside of Farcaster. And I can start using Farcaster with Recoup. If I tap the little down arrow, it'll hide it. If I tap it again, it opens it. And so now I can easily just be using Recoup directly inside of Farcaster without needing to leave the app. So I'm going to be trying to use Recoup now inside of Farcaster because it's a new place that we've distributed it. If you want to try this new mini app that we've just published, you can check out on my profile on Farcaster. I'm sweetman.eth on Farcaster. And we have just used MiniKit to publish an existing app as a Farcaster mini app and a base mini app, which is going to give us new distribution directly inside of the mobile feed without us having to worry about publishing on the App Store or the Play Store. Our next steps after this is the first time I've ever seen anybody wrap an existing product with MiniKit. And so I want to publish this in the form of documentation. I'm going to write out a list of docs that are easy for me to follow and hopefully easy for anybody else to follow, so that if you already have a Next.js application and you just want to wrap it with MiniKit, so that way you can publish and get that distribution on Farcaster and Base, you'll be able to follow these docs, publish your app quickly and easily so that you can get that new distribution directly in the social feed without needing to apply to app stores, all the benefits that you get with the mini app. Thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like above or below. Give us a subscribe if you want to tune in for when we go live again with these new docs. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, and I'll come back and follow up with any